Hello and welcome to the couch right here on ZTN Prime. My name is Howard Musonza, and this is where we talk nothing but the world's most beautiful game, which is football. And yeah, we normally focus on what's happening in Zimbabwe. Today we've got a special guest in studio. I'll introduce the guest in a bit, but the couch squad is here. I've got Veronica Gwaze and David Sengu. You said Sengu Maketo. David Maketo Sengu. Yeah, he was like our fly in the wall last week. So yeah, he's back to his usual duty today. But we are going to do some substitution, elimination later in the show. We've got somebody, you can't see Teddy anyways, but he's going to come through. And we're going to enjoy ourselves on what we are discussing today. And our focus is on Jordan Zemura. He's our special guest today. So what we normally do here, we've got the couch squad. All right, so you are part of the couch squad. So whatever we're going to discuss here, you need to raise your hand and just run with it.
Get involved.
That's what we're doing. But welcome to the couch, Jordan.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm pleasure to be here. I can't wait to discuss and debate, I guess.
So yeah, that's the couch squad, Vero and David, as well as Jordan Zemura. So you'll see, naturally, because you are the guest, you are our focal point. And I'll just start with this. It's off season for you, right? And what we have seen from European-based stars, you know, they're on holiday somewhere, on a yacht, drinking whatever they drink with buddies around.
Yeah.
But you are here, drilling balls, running tournaments. How is that?
It's easy to sum up in words, but just home is where the heart is. So I thought for the last 3-4 years, as soon as I finish, straight back to Zimbabwe, just to realign my focus and just see what the bigger picture is, you know? So the boats, the yachts, all of that, it will be there eventually, whenever, but to come back here, to see the kids, to see the children, see my family, is how I need to finish the year of football. So yeah, it's my safe space.
Yeah. Okay, because it's a bit surprising. You know, you have seen footballers. I'm sure growing up, you would see, who did you want to be?
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney. I'm sure you were following Wayne Rooney.
Big Man United fan, yeah.
And you were like, okay, oh, so this is his girlfriend. Okay, this is the kind of life that he's living.
Yeah.
But I look at you now. You are far from that. You are here so humble. I'm not saying all these others are not humble.
Yeah.
But what drives you?
I think the biggest thing is the fact that my family is my focus, and I think my family have like instilled it to me since I was a kid, that we're a big group, so we look after each other and then we just stay together. So ever since I was a kid, and me and my brothers, my aunties, my uncles, both on my mum's side and my dad's side, we're just like a massive unity. So I guess that's the humbling factor in me, is that I'm just Jordan to them. So it's so now I'm here. I still try to keep that same persona. I'm just Jordan, of course, the footballer as well, which is hard to differentiate for some people, but for my family, they always keep me grounded. So, of course, when Zimbabwe is calling, I'm here every time. So, yeah.
So, growing up in the UK, how much Zimbabwe was in that house?
Oh, so much. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. You'd have to be in the house to understand, from listening to Zimbabwe music to Oliver Matusi, to everyone. It's just a lot. So I couldn't even, like, yeah, from Sadza, from time to time. As I got older, the Sadza had to stop because it doesn't really work from training days and eating Sadza every single day. So my mum had to slow down with that. But ever since a child, it's just the culture's been embedded in my household. So yeah.
So I want these guys to also come in. But there's one thing that I want to understand. You're growing up in such a household. There's a lot of Zimbabwe in there.
Yeah.
But obviously you can't take away the UK in it.
No, of course
right.
not.
And you going through the youth ages and going up. And first game in the Premier League, things have changed.
Yeah.
Boom, you're not playing the Serie A. What changed in that household?
Like, you would think that all of a sudden now we're European family, but honestly, it doesn't really much change from the fact that my mom's on Duolingo trying to learn Italian. My dad is studying the stadiums he wants to see in Italy, or going to the Emirates to watch me play against Arsenal. It's just more about the experiences, but the identity of the household has never changed. I think that's been the main driving factor in everything. It's been, we enjoy the experiences that we have from me playing in the leagues that I'm playing. For my little brothers, they sort of now get to visit the San Siro and sit there in the stadium and watch their older brother play. It's an experience, it's a memory for them. But yeah, that's more or less the fact of it all.
So I know Veronica, well, she's done some stories on you.
Okay, yeah.
It's not every day that you sit close to a star like Jordan, because we watch different teams that we support from further afield. And, well, you know my story. I've stopped supporting those teams for...
Think of him, as you were conversing with him, he's telling you about the Zimbabwe that exists in his family, that exists in the household that you grew up in. But you come to Zim, yes, you are a Zimbabwean, but when you get into that community, personally, I'm a village girl. I grew up in the village, eating peanuts. There is a lot of wild fruit. There's thick forest there, you know, a lot of stuff. So when you come to Zim, you go out there, you drill balls and stuff. But what is it that you have identified, or maybe that's something that connects you with the Zimbabwean community, apart from you being born in a Zimbabwean household?
Okay, it's a great question. I think what connects me is it's honestly the kids, the children, because I can see like the hope in their eyes when they sort of like look towards like, this person has come here to give us food, to like, and he's a footballer, you know, and obviously they might not know where I play or who I play, but I think there's a resonation of me being as a child, and I used to see the professional footballers, I used to think, wow, this guy plays the game that I love and stuff like that, even from the boys and the girls. But I think it's mainly just like seeing the kids playing on the streets. And I remember when I used to come to Zim when I was a baby, when I was young, I was exactly the same, playing at my gogo's house in Warren Park with no shoes on, no socks on, just kicking a plastic ball. I can't remember the name. There's like a name that we used to call it, but there it is. There it is. So you used to kick that ball around, and you know, you kick the stone and it would hurt so much, but the joy of playing on the streets with like all us kids was just, yeah, it was everything. So yeah, I think that's what it is. That's what resonates with me the most. It's just the joy. And that's it.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking this is because most of his connection with the Zimbabwean footballers is within the Warriors camp. But when you look at someone who's within that camp, they are also looking at Jay-Z and saying, I want to be like this guy. Or last time I saw him with a nice pair of boots, I want to try and buy that pair of boots. But when you go into the community, you are looking at a kid who's so innocent. They are playing street football and they are content with that type of life.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Like you said, they're so content. I think yesterday was in Mount Pleasant, donating some food there, and then I had a little moment to play with the kids and with the football, and honestly, like, it was probably the happiest moment I took from that situation, because they were just running around, just wanted to head the ball, just wanted to kick the ball, and honestly, they were just kicking each other. But like, it was just great to see like how happy they was. Like you said, they were so content. So, yeah.
So when you look at, because she talked about the Warrior setup, first time playing for the Warriors. Obviously, there are some players that, you know, are playing locally. They came to you. Is there a question that one of them asked you? Because they look at you, you're a superstar. And they also want to probably trace the road that you took up there. But it's where we are coming from that's different.
Yeah.
Is there a question that you were asked, you know, that you were difficulty in answering?
I think probably two questions that they asked that I thought, okay, I need to give a good answer for them to understand was, they want to know what's the differences, you know? Because I think that's a big player. If you're playing here locally in Zim and I'm playing there in Europe, they want to know what are we doing there that they can do here as well. Like, so it's more about the differences in like, what are we eating, or what are we recovering, or how we're recovering our bodies and stuff like that. And also just like what are the pressures like? Because of course, like, it's different forms of pressure. Of course, it's all the same because it's football, but I guess when you're playing in front of like 60,000 people to like maybe 5,000 people, it's very different. It's very drastic in terms of like the noise. You can't hear anything, but you have to really like lock into a zone where like, I'm here focusing solely on football. So I guess that's what the main questions were, was just about how do you adapt to like different places of where you're playing. And yeah, that was probably the most difficult ones that I got.
So you were talking to David just before we went live. So David is a former footballer.
Yeah.
For me, he's by far the most technical player that I've seen. Yeah, because I started covering football, I think, back in 2001.
Oh wow! Yeah.
He was playing, and he was just starting, and I've watched him through. But he never got an opportunity. I think if he had found an opportunity to go outside, he would have scaled these heights.
Yeah.
So there are so many Davids out there here in Zimbabwe. How do we break that glass ceiling that's there?
Yeah.
Because if you go to West Africa, you go to North Africa, there's like a bridge that was built
over,
into Europe. But you come to Southern Africa, it's not the same.
No.
What is the problem with Southern Africa?
I don't think it's a problem thing. I think it's more accessibility. Like, I think like when you say about the bridge from like, because I have a lot of French teammates, but African-based French teammates. So they've literally gone from playing in Ivory Coast, Senegal, then they're going now to Ligue 1 in France through a connection. So I think that's the biggest thing here. I think what I've realised as well in Zim is mainly you go from Zim to South Africa, and then from South Africa, maybe that's when you do the jump, but there's no direct line. But I think in the past, from what I remember, Peter Ndovu was here playing Highlanders, and then he went from Highlanders to Coventry City, like because of a pre-season friendly game. So just like that, just one look, and then I think the most recent one now that I think in my teammate at Zim national team is Bill Antonio, who's like was playing at Dynamos, and then he's at Michelin in Belgium. So there's the opportunities there, but like you said, it's 1 in 100. So I think the way to bridge the gap is literally accessibility. So it's how you bring more eyes to the Zimbabwean Premier League. And I think once you start doing that, once you get more sponsorships, TV, and people watching the league more and more and more, it only happens like that. You only need one person to look and be like, oh, that's the player that I want. And, you know, it happens fast. So, yeah, I think eyes is the biggest thing.
So, David, you were coaching Bag Academy. It's sad they fired you, but
you enjoy that, Howard. Come on, you enjoy that. You see.
No, I'm just trying to imagine if you had gone with Jordan before you got fired. You think they would have fired you?
If the result doesn't come, isn't it? You get fired. He knows.
But when the results were coming.
Yeah, they were coming. But
so why did you get fired?
The thing with football, Howard, there are a lot of dynamics in football. You know, I think on my side, I believe if you're a coach, yeah, you don't need interference when you're doing your job. If you have to bring in players, you bring in players that suits your style of play, right? So by so doing, Howard, and my results can ask you take all the blame, isn't it? But then if there's a lot of interference, then the results are shared between you and the executive. Because which is something that I don't believe. If you're a coach, then there's supposed to be someone who says, so and so games, it was us. And so and so games, do a coach. No, there's nothing like that. But as for me, I felt I was on the right track. Imagine I'm 6th, but in terms of my points, I'm 3 points behind the team which was on top. So the reasons of me being sacked, and they are more than not just the result.
How many players did you go with to the team?
I think when we did pre-season, I almost took like 8 players. But to be honest, by the time yatasvika pagame rekupedza ndakatamba panga pasina kana one anga achitamba.
Why?
Because ndakaudzwa kunzi havasi kuita ndeve academy football. So I don't know which one is the academy football yanga ichitaurwa yacho kuti chi.
So why I was asking, I want to link you with you know what he was talking about. So you are playing in the Serie A. You get there, there's a coach that brought you there. How does it feel when the coach suddenly gets sacked?
Yeah.
And how do you then try and concentrate? Because you know, okay, besides this man, maybe I couldn't have come to this particular team. Yeah, because like they say in Shona, they say like, you know, a hunter, you know, hunts with his dogs. So wherever a coach goes, you see 3-4 players. How does, in your case, has that happened before?
Yeah, I think it's when I first arrived in Italy, I had one coach, and then in that season, I ended up having 3 different managers. It was sort of a struggling year for us as a team, and we didn't really perform the best. At the club were chopping and changing, so we had 3 managers in 1 year. So imagine me as a new player, I come for the first season, and then I'm trying to impress the first manager. I think for the first 10 matches, I didn't start the game. I was on the bench, and then I'd come on at half time, maybe 3 or 4 times I came on, but I never started. So as a player, you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, okay, like what more can I do? How can I get in? And then next thing you know, a manager gone. And then the new manager came in, and I started the first game. And like you said, like you have to adapt fast, because you don't have time to, oh, like, is he going to like me? Does he? You just have to play the football that's there. A manager will come in with his ideas, his ethos, and then as a player, you're more than capable to adapt and change and play what's given to you, you know? So, yeah, so we tried with a new second manager, it was good, and then changed again. Third manager, Fabio Cannavaro, came, and by this stage, it was now fighting for survival. So now, you know, football changes, then he might come in and want to play older players because they have the experience. But yeah, so like you said, it's all about, you have to adapt. As a player, there's no time to sulk or anything like this, you just adapt.
Have you ever had issues accessing guys like Jordan? Because you're a journalist. Your primary role, you need to get stories out there to people.
Yeah, I think sometimes we do come across those challenges, but I would understand their position as his position, or maybe their positions as players and as professional players, because you can't just be accessible to everyone, and it's not every journalist that comes to you with good intentions. So sometimes there's that tendency of naturally safeguarding yourself. But whenever they are whenever they come for national duty, you know for certain you are going to have access with them. So I think it's the way in which you build your relations that also gives them the comfort to trust you as a journalist.
Have you ever had issues? I know if you go further, is this issue of stalking and have you ever had any issues with regards to that?
I think with like, as a player, as you said, it's very, you need the trust, because you don't want to say something and then it's been misread as you meant this and you meant that. So as soon as a player says that, then you don't want to speak anymore, because you think that I'm in danger of my image being tarnished because I might have said something that you didn't understand. But in terms of stalking, it's more about, you might get 100 messages from one journalist saying, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. But as a player, you don't have the time sometimes. But like when you're a national team, it's allocated moments to speak. But yeah, so unfortunately, I've been okay. I haven't had a stalker yet.
So let's talk about your foundation. Because, you know, I'm sitting on my desk and the reporter comes with a story. There's this Jordan Zemura Foundation, and then what's this about?
Yeah.
How did it come about?
The foundation, let's say it was like it was a beginning of like brothers from my family. So there's 7 of us from my dad. So as like the younger generation coming up in this world, some born in Zim, some born in England, I think me and my older brothers were speaking about how can we make a change from our experiences in life and stuff like that. How can we affect the people below us, like the younger generation, or how can we show to our younger siblings or our younger nephews and nieces, this is the way to be role models to our own family, which then branched out to being role models for anyone who we can help and support. So I think the foundation stemmed from also me wanting to, as I know how fortunate I am to have been born in the UK and also having that opportunity in that wise, whereas it's very different, you know, being born in England and being born in Zimbabwe, it's 2 different courses. Like you said about yourself, like maybe if you had the same opportunities I had playing in England, you'd be in a different, you might have not got fired. You might have been coaching like someone else, you know, it's different. So I think for me, it was more about, yeah, giving back everything that I've learned from my time growing up in England and stuff like that. And of course, from my parents, they've instilled it to me from young, like, this is who you are, this is where you're from. And since I've been coming back to Zim since I was a baby, I've never lost that. So yeah, and the foundation is solely built on helping younger children through sportsmanship and education. So that's the plan, that's the process.
So I want to draw comparisons because he was a footballer, but obviously he played in Zimbabwe. You played in England. You went to the Serie A. So what I want to understand is, we have heard stories. John Michael Obi had a story about what family is, especially when you are now a star. We have heard so many African stars who have gone abroad, and they talk about how they then treat their families, because everybody wants to lynch on you. They're like ticks. They're coming to you. Everybody comes to you. So you're talking about a whole line of brothers. You've got different rallies that are there. In your case, how do you cope?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I've been quite fortunate about in terms of like my mother's family and my dad's family, obviously the Zemuras and Mazenga, is that it's been more of a case where like it was installed beforehand. Before I even made it to where I was supposed to, God took me to where it was like, there was always like a common respect between everyone, you know. There was people before me in maybe film, arts, musical stuff, and like, or very intelligent people in terms of like, they've had their own versions of success, you know. So they've all understood a bit to play in terms of where I am today now. So it was sort of navigating the fact that like, okay, now I'm here as a footballer, but to them I'm still Jordan, you know. So I guess it's always been the case, and I guess now the most things that I get asked is just for t-shirts. So I'll be trying to give everyone that's the hardest part of the struggle, is just trying to make sure everyone gets a Zemura 33 shirt. But no, honestly, I'm very fortunate. Like I said, the stories that you talk about, I read a story about Adebayo and how difficult he faced in terms of how his family was to him when he made it as a footballer, and it was very difficult. I can only feel sorry for him, because I guess for me, in my case, it was never about, okay, let's take what we can get from him. It's more about, we are so happy and blessed to see you in the situation that you're in. And so then I never felt that pressure of like, oh, I've got to go do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I think my mum helped me a lot with that. She's put a blanket around me, so I'm her son, I'm her firstborn, so she's protected me a lot in terms of stuff like that.
How many bags did you bring with the Jordan Zemura 33?
Honestly, I think I ordered about 30 shirts. I'm down to 5. So I've given out 25 shirts. I bought a load of boots. Like all my teammates are at the Navy, honestly. So we're going to be giving out so many football boots and stuff like that. But getting through customs in Zimbabwe was difficult a little bit. But no, they let me through. So yeah, a lot of stuff to give back.
So for you, is it the same? Because I know the fame is a bit different, but you were a star. You know, captaining the Young Warriors, captaining Caps United, playing for the Warriors. Was it the same?
Yeah, it is. It is. There's no difference in terms, especially when you're on top. A lot of relatives would come, and what they really need is shirts, right? Then there is this important shirt that you know very well you are not going to get it, especially the Warriors shirt and the shirt that you wore maybe for the first time when you started playing. Like mine, when I played for Black Aces first, I hid my shirt, I gave it to my sister. Then the Warriors shirt, I still have got it. My number 10 shirt. I still have got it when we played against Angola in Angola. You know, I wanted to change it with Aqua, but I thought, no, I won't get this again. I might have the Aqua jersey, but it's not a Zimbabwean jersey. But for me, it's something that is precious. Chikuti, I will never get it. Even now, I was not going to get it. So those are some of the things. But Mango jersey, even Ego caps, I think I've got only one that I'm left with. Mango ese, I got Torwa. You know, so like what Jordan has just said, every relative would want a shirt. Remari is something else. But chavanu wadaku kuonekwa vanacho. Ijezi ningera kanyorwa kunzi maketo. So with the same with Jordan, everyone wants to see someone wearing Jezi against Zemura, and they will know where they got it. Because it's not fake. You won't get it in the streets. You only get it from himself. You know, so that's the most important thing. Chekuti, he has got a foundation that is doing that. Could everyone through him, you know, so which is something which is good. But as for me, I think, you know, playing in Zimbabwe, you only see things. Saka every at the end of the day, you just appreciate everything.
And it's kind of different for us because we never played, eh? So we don't really understand what really these guys go through, especially with that. But when you do maybe a story like that, you, like the Adebayo example that he gave, you are like, washing your dirty linen in public. But these are the stories, these are the juicy stories that we want to talk about. That's what we want to write about.
Yeah, I think especially for someone who wasn't born in Zimbabwe, you grew up there. Maybe if you still remember, perhaps your first national team call-up, how it came, what was your first reaction, and even the day that you made your debut for the national team. Yeah. If you can take us through that moment.
Yeah, no, it's a surreal feeling. I remember it was during the COVID time. So I remember I played against Algeria away in Algiers. And I think that was my first time at meeting with the camp. We met in Zimbabwe. I stayed at the Holiday Inn. I remember it like it was in the Holiday Inn. And I remember being part of the camp for the first time. I thought, wow, okay, this is where it is. And the Holiday Inn, it was any access. So I'd come downstairs. Obviously, I was the unrecognizable face at the time. I think in that team, I can't remember the players, but obviously there was like Kamabili out there. And then like I could see the eyes on him as a player. Obviously, little did I know how big of a player this person was in Zimbabwe at the time. And then I saw like the affection and the emotion that the people had for him. And then I remember we traveled to Algeria and we played away, and it was just putting on the shirt for the first time, the yellow, and it was just a great feeling, and it was just a feeling of like immense pride when I heard the national anthem being played for the first time in like a stadium environment. It was very touching. It felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I felt like this is exactly who I am and where I'm supposed to be, so it was good.
And years later now, you are now a regular feature for the national team. Unfortunately, you still haven't gotten that opportunity to play in front of your home crowd. Yeah. How does it feel for you?
I feel very jealous of some of my players who have played in the stadium, and seeing that. I've been like a few times played against Ghana, and the stadium is empty, and I just felt like when you stand in the pitch, you look around and you think, you could just imagine this with 50, 60, I don't know how many thousands it holds, but you can see the energy that you could feel from that stadium. And I speak to some of the players and they'll tell me, I think Marshall would tell me how, like, imagine like a wall of yellow, green, just like, you can't even see, but all you can see is that prominent colour. And I just think I'm just waiting and I'm just waiting. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for these qualifiers coming up that we'll be back home in the stadium to experience that, because I'm due. It's been 6 years now, so I'm due that feeling and emotion, so yeah.
So there's also another aspect here we've seen with African stars who are playing in Europe. Obviously, because of the crowds that you're talking about, women tend to get, within touching distance. You can get any woman that you want. And women just throw themselves at you. Has this ever happened to you?
Well, like, can't disclose everything, but no, no, of course, it's part of the game, it's half of it. As much as you do on the field, a lot of things happen off the field. So I think like that's the biggest importance of like understanding that like you can't be too outside and trying to still be inside at the same time, because it's detrimental. So I think from like myself, I think from a young age, I was like in a relationship at the time, so I was never really fixated on elsewhere. And then as of now, I'm in a relationship as well with my girlfriend for like the last year. And it's very much so like you can get easily distracted. Of course, like, listen, as any young professional out there, it's very easy to be, I've had a good game, I scored, let's go to the club, let's go party. And when you're in them venues, them environments, it's like, it's not a good place to be in. It's a very dangerous environment in terms of that way. But I think, yeah, since let's say my single life in that time period of when I was enjoying my spoils, yeah, it was what it was. We'll leave it at that.
You're onto the couch right here on ZTN Prime. In studio, we are talking to Jordan Zemura. He's our special guest today. And yeah, I know you've got a lot of questions that you also want us to ask him. Get in the comment section. Let's discuss this at ZTN Prime, #TheCouch. And let's discuss this with Jordan. Anything that you want to hear, let's talk to Jordan. We'll be right back.
Harare, Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you're sitting. Nozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako yo afro chakuti ndo music manje yeMzimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoilt.
And then they just give me the receipt.
It was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime in studio. I've got the Couch Squad. Taddy has joined the human side. We spoke a bit about the football side, but I still have a couple of human questions that I want to ask. But in terms of the football side, do you follow the local league?
Yes, of course. I have teammates that play here in the local league as well. So from time to time, I'm always checking the tables and the scores from the weekend's results. Here and there.
Which team do you support?
I'm not a supporter of any specific team. I'm a follower. So obviously, some of my teammates are playing at Scotland, and some of my teammates are playing at Caps United, and just a mixture of players here. So I wouldn't say I'm a given follower, supporter of each team, but I just follow the league more or less.
So earlier I was talking about not supporting teams from further. Maybe you're wondering why. Because I believe charity begins at home, right? If I focus on Phil Foden, for example, who is going to talk about Tanaka Shandirwa from Caps United.
Exactly.
So I think that's where it starts. Then I will then go and talk about all those other teams. But you have seen, I'm sure even in England, you have seen Zimbabweans filling bars, going to the stadiums to watch Arsenal. Even when you came here, a lot of Zimbabweans celebrating Arsenal, celebrating Manchester United, Real Madrid and all that. But they don't really follow their teams. What do you think is the disconnect there? Where is the disconnect?
Yeah, it's difficult because I guess, like you said, like I remember I was in, we was watching the Champions League final at Jamtree, and then it was a big, like, for Arsenal, PSG, like people wanted Arsenal to lose, Arsenal wanted to win. And I was thinking, oh wow, like I knew there was a connect between people here supporting teams in Europe and stuff like that. But it's like you said, if you could rephrase the last thing you said something about the disconnect of, you said.
So a lot of people tend to shun the local league.
Yeah, okay.
Preferring those
The
leagues
foreign
that
leagues,
you play in.
Yeah, but
how do we get people back?
Yeah, it's football teams now in Europe and abroad these local leagues, without a doubt, all the teams over 1 million followers. So they're worldwide, they're posting online every single day. They've got like some sort of interaction between the players and the fans. I think that's the biggest thing. I think for me, playing in Europe, we do social media every day. So if we're doing like a game or we're doing like a fan meet or we're doing things like that, I think that's the best way for people to be attracted to the teams in like locally is to have connection. Of course, there could be connection through like your father supported Caps United, so you support them, but do you know any of the players? You might not know. So I think that's the big thing that I think needs to be here. Social media is a driving force in like public, exposing all the players and showing who these people are. So yeah.
So there's a story that he did. He then sent me a story about you being a glass fitter, getting fired, and
famous story.
Yeah, I was editing that story, and I'm going through and I'm trying to understand. Now I've seen you going back to where you worked. Have you gone back there? Have you been in touch with any of the lads from there?
Not a chance. As soon as I walked out that door, they never saw me again. Like, yeah, no, it was a funny period in my life. Let's just say that at least. It was
how funny?
No, honestly, you wouldn't stop laughing. It was one of those situations where I was in a place where like, what am I doing here? But I'm just trying to make ends meet. I guess like I wasn't paying, so I wasn't contracted at a club. Like my mom couldn't keep paying for my bills, so I had to sort something out. And then yeah, it was only a 2-week period, and then I got fired. So yeah, I guess that was all I needed to know. Yeah, exactly. It was my first reality check in terms of my 9 to 5, and they fired me. Like,
did you ever do anything else besides that?
That's the only thing I've ever done. I did work experience when I was younger. I worked in like a computer place. That was good, but it was work experience. But that's the only job I've ever worked was in that glass fitting place.
So when you did that story, because that was your turning point.
Yes, of
course. The footballer who was the glass fitter, something like that. I don't really remember. But when you were doing that story, because we've got a lot of youngsters here who are playing football, but at the end of the day, you also want to make something out of it. But it's very difficult to juggle, especially here, going to work and playing football, but it's not as professional as where he plays in. Right. So when you are conversing with most of these youngsters, how do they augment their salaries and all that?
No, Jordan wasn't augmenting his salary per se.
Oh, this is where he was.
Yeah, because he's someone who is coming from an academy. He now wants to transition into the professional, into the real professional field, and then that was a stopgap thing that was doing. He was not playing football. He was doing exclusively glass fitting. I had that privilege of talking to Jordan, of talking to his father, also his mother. Then it was actually the mother who then, through LinkedIn and social media, managed to find a placing for Jordan at Bournemouth.
Okay.
After that, yes.
So I know you come from Wedza. He's got a link in Wedza.
No, he doesn't have a link in Wedza. His mother comes from Wedza, and his father comes from Mariwa. But also as someone who also comes from Wedza, I love Wedza.
So my question is, how much do they know about him in Wedza?
Because Jordan didn't grow up in Zimbabwe, they don't know much about him. But because of his charity activities that he is doing right now, they are slowly becoming to know him, and also by reading social media, by also watching him playing for Udinese there, because at his grandparents, there is also some DSTV, they will be following him, and the kids from surrounding villages will also come and watch him. So slowly they are knowing him. Yeah.
I think maybe, I don't know, but you missed the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
How big was that?
Yeah, that was a heartbreak, I'd say, in terms of, like, for me, playing all the qualifying games, 6 out of 6, starting every single game, and then when it came to the final call, I think it was 4 days before I was meant to travel. I had a game for my parent club, and yeah, that night just bang, my hamstring just had a tear in my hamstring, and then I missed the tournament just like that. Yeah, it happened so fast, and it was very tough moment mentally for me then. Right.
So when the injury happened, were you thinking about that game, or suddenly you were thinking, okay, we've got a huge tournament coming up?
That's all I was thinking about. I was thinking, how can I get to maybe the second game? Or like, how can I get to the game against South Africa, the final game? Because I knew the tournament, like 3 teams can go through depending on the results, right? So I thought to myself, okay, if I can make it for the South African game and we win, I can still play the next game. That's all I was thinking. I was thinking, how can I still get there regardless of what just happened? But I was injured for 5 weeks, so yeah, there was no chance I would have made it, unfortunately.
You played the game, and every player's nightmare is an injury. Right, and you know, like him, you know, he's looking up to such a grand tournament, because when we play, of course, everybody wants to go to the World Cup, but he's a big tournament in Africa, and you get injured. I'm sure you've gone through as such.
Maybe before that, Jordan maybe is someone who is very unfortunate when it comes to the Africa Cup of Nations. You remember his debut Africa Cup of Nations, he missed the first game because of COVID complications, and then when he arrived, he also missed the second game because he was benched, and he only got to play the last game. Maybe how painful is that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that you say that. Yeah, that first tournament, even though the experience of it was amazing, because I did eventually play, but it was like I still missed like a lot of part of that tournament with COVID, and then obviously not starting the next game due to decisions and stuff like that. So then now I'm missing one tournament where I'm there from the beginning. So God willing, this qualifying rounds come up, and then we are in Kenya next year, and that tournament, I've got something special for that, honestly.
Did you ever miss any big tournament, big games?
Yeah, I did. I missed the COSAFA in 2001. Then in 2002, the BP Cup final. After playing all the games, I missed the final. Then again in 2003, I missed also the under 23 qualifiers, the last 2 games against Ethiopia. I didn't play those games because I had an operation on my knee. And besides that, I was supposed to be in the senior national team after those 2 games, preparing for the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations. Yeah, I missed, I think, a chunk of almost like 4 months. Yeah.
So from where we come from, we always think there is some force coming from somewhere. You know?
Do you know what I want? There was vamwe amai vasianza kuzifa vakatozomboya kwandiri zvikanzi, what's wrong with you? Every time, and even when it's senior national team, when it's the last week of the preparations, something happens to you. Unotosara. How is that possible? And no, maybe it's because the coaches make decisions, you know. But after that, 2005, I almost played every single final games. 2004 as well, I played every single final for Cape United. 2005, we went to COSAFA. I played every single minute, every game, until I think it was the final game that I didn't play because of the decisions, maybe of the coaches. But the final, I was there. Yeah, 2005 COSAFA yataka winaye. So ningangoti from after that, I started playing, like what Jordan has just said. It's so heartbreaking how you play all the games, then you miss going to the tournament. So sometimes you just be unfortunate, you know, with injuries. Like in it was my knee always.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there something like that in your world where you think there's a special force from somewhere? How are you spiritually?
No, just only one Lord Savior for me is Jesus Christ. So I don't feel like there's anything in terms of spiritually against me. I know everything happens for a reason. Like I know lean not onto my own understandings, but lean onto the Lord above. So I can't question what's happening outside. I can't even allow that into my spiritual realm and stuff like that. I know everything happens for a reason. So I know God's got something bigger and better for me. and I know I'll be waiting for that to happen.
So yeah, I've got a question for you. Jordan, especially when you're playing, especially before the game, how are you guys psyching up? Remember, there are different nationalities in your team.
Yeah.
Do you guys sing? Do you guys do music?
Yeah.
Or something, especially when you're going for matches?
Yeah, I think in Europe is very different from what I've experienced in Zimbabwe in terms of like the singing and like the energy that you bring. It's like you're a group of like soldiers going out to war, but you're going to the football pitch, but it's a version of war. But like I didn't know how important that was until I finally came and played for Zimbabwe. But when you're in like Europe in the dressing room, you have the music, big music coming through the game before sometimes, but other times it's quiet and everyone's just in their own space and doing their own things. I think in England it was a big thing, like the music had to be, when you're leaving, it is bouncing, boom, 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 so you're ready to go. But here, when I've been playing in Italy, it's very much, okay, music off, 3 minutes to go, guys, let's get ready. Mentally prepare yourself, and then you go for your warm-up, and then before the game, the manager will do a speech, or the captain, and then that's it, really. So it varies. It's very different between different places I've been. I think my favourite is the singing before on the bus and getting ready to go.
What's your favourite? What's your favourite song?
Yeah, I've been asked this question 1,000 times. My favourite song, I'm gonna say a different one. Cause I normally say the one that everyone knows me for saying, but I don't want to say that anymore. So there's another song that I've been listening to recently that I've been really enjoying. How does it go? It goes, put me on the spot now. I wanna make sure it's perfectly the way I say it.
Okay, take
it's
your time.
Going, yeah, I mean, you might be able to help me on this one a little bit when I start going. It's going. How's it go? It's going.
And the leader is God knows.
The leader's God knows. Oh, there's a bit. I'll say it. Hold on. It's you know when they say Wembley, Wembley. And then Weshura,
okay, Wembley.
Yeah, Wembley is that. Or Mana, Amaya Baba, Santi Cheme, Canada, yeah.
Dinida, Kutamba Bora. Pamejete, never.
There we go. Because obviously, imagine now we're in a group, so there's you've got guys at the front, you got the guys in the middle, and we're in unison. And obviously, me coming from England and living in, it's so different. So at the beginning stages, I used to hide from the camera because I used to think, oh my gosh, I don't know the words I'm saying, so I don't want to be in the back just clapping. I want to be there. Then eventually, after time. You would see me at the front. I'll be there with the guys. You know, when we're going back like this and we're going forward like this, I'll be there. So, no, honestly, it's it does. You might not think that, but the feeling you get from it is like, wow. And obviously, when you realise the lyrics that they're saying, it's like it's touching. You know, so. Yeah, no, it's good. I like that a lot. I wish I could bring that to Europe, but the guys will look at me and be like stop this, stop this for us. The manager might tell me, okay, bench now, like you're not playing because it's different, you know, the culture is different, so it's not seen as a thing where you wanna, you know, sing or stuff. Obviously, some of the songs it's very like from soldiers before, but it's a mix of football version, so it's very much like
true.
It's different, you know, it's just very different. But yeah.
You're not the only one. You know what? Even when the Pit and Lovers were coming from Europe to play, George Mbrando, some of those guys would love, you know, to hear music, you know, being sang, especially by the local guys, because most of the time it will be us, locally guys will be singing. So they'll join in
it's the best.
And, you know, start enjoying. So I do understand you.
It's still the same, honestly, to this day now.
Exactly.
I know AFCON, when they were getting ready for that first game against Egypt, I just know, God knows, was at the front orchestrating a orchestra for the players before the game started. And yeah, you know, those are the moments that bring you closer as a team, and like it's bonding, as well as it's like, you know, preparing for the game, but it's actually being like looking to your person on your left and your right, you're thinking, okay, we're going out on that pitch together, you know, like we're going to give everything for each other, you know. And yeah, so, you know, I'm always telling, like, God knows, and a few of the other guys, when we're getting close to the stadium, I'm like, let's go. It's time to sing. I don't sing, but I'm just there. Like, let's go.
So I know it's every player's dream to win a tournament.
Yeah.
You went to the AFCON once, you missed another tournament. When you look at the time that you came into the Warrior setup, up until now, you played your game recently.
Yeah.
With the group of players that we've got, do you see us winning AFCON in the near future?
Do you know what? I generally see us going, because I'm pretty sure we haven't got out of the group stage before, ever, in AFCONs that we qualified for. if that's not happening since I'm playing in the next couple of tournaments, I think that's a big mistake, a big like tragedy, because the players now that are coming through, especially the mix between the players that have been here before and the younger generation coming through, there's without a doubt that we should be getting out the group stages and seeing where the tournament takes us. I think Zambia in 2012, they ended up beating Ivory Coast in the final. And of course, a lot of players would have been a mixture between players that were playing in outside of Zambia, but also playing in the Zambian league as well. And it's the unity that brought them all the way to that final, and winning that was just like, especially Zambia, I'm thinking Zambia, Zimbabwe, like they're literally neighbouring places. So I'm thinking, why not? You know, and you know, tournament football, anything can happen. So I think God willing, we qualified for AFCON, and then who knows? But I think the first stages, before we talk about winning the tournament, stuff like that, we have to get out the group stage. I think it's a shame if the group of players that we have don't manage to get past the group of whatever group that we have. I think we can compete with anyone. I think these recent qualifiers, Nigeria drew both games. Before in the World Cup qualifiers, Cameroon, I think we drew in AFCON, drew one game, lost the second, but we're right there with them, you know, like, and it's only a matter of time before it changes, and then now it's like, okay, I'm a bit jealous of the South African team. They're going to the World Cup. We played them twice. The first game in, I think it was Bloemfontein, I'm not sure, the most recent time we played in Durban, we played South Africa. So honestly, and they're a very good nation, strong nation. Deservedly, they're playing in the World Cup. They should be, because they've been like arguably a very, very good team. But I look at them and I think, okay, this is a group of people that's come in and it's different. So consistency is the biggest thing.
So you write stories like this. So when you hear him talking about this and talking like that, do you believe in the next couple of years might be able to get out of the group stage and eventually win the tournament?
We're even closer, Howard, to getting out of the group stages in the recent tournament in Morocco.
Just don't talk about Morocco.
You see? So when I hear someone like Jordan, a warrior like Jordan, a utility player like Jordan, who can play anyway in that team, someone who has got a connection with the British Brigade, speaking about it, you know, it makes me happy. So I do believe, just like he believes.
So 20 years from now, when your football career is over and a young Zimbabwean comes to you and asks you, who was Jordan Zemura? What do you hope the answer will be?
That's a good question. 20 years from now, just footballing wise, or just as a person, or as a footballing person?
I think as a footballing person, because we know you because of football.
I think as a footballing person, I want them to see me as like, when he played, it meant everything to him, you know? Like every game or every minute, every second, when Jordan Zemura was playing, there was not a chance where he surrendered or he accepted. He just gave everything that he had. He left it all on the pitch, you know? And then someone that also, like you said, like brings his teammates in to shine as well as himself. So I want to be the player that sacrifices myself for, like, maybe I do the pass or the cross, or like I do the tackle and then give it to my fellow teammate and he scores the winning goal. Like, I don't want the attention. I don't care for the fame of being, he was the one that done this, or he's the one that scored the moment there. But someone that looks back and be like, you know what, this is the player that, like you said utility. I've played in so many positions since being in the national team, and like I take that every day of the week, because it shows someone that's like willing to sacrifice himself for the better of the team, you know. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. I want it to be like, when he played, it meant everything or nothing, you know. So yeah.
So ever since you came into the national team, who has surprised you from all the players that you've played against? Because I know you're coming from the UK, you're coming from Italy.
Yeah.
And boom, you've got a group of players who are coming from Zimbabwe. Who has shocked you?
I'll say who shocked me as like players in terms of since I've been in the national team. I'll say local players first, because I can mention obviously Knowledge and something. He's had a unbelievable career to play in Germany, to play in Saudi, even Kama. All these players are recognisable talents that you know from and you heard from. But I think since I've come through, the goalkeepings have been very, very surprisingly good to fit. I played with like Washington and Ruby, and honestly, for him to be how good he's been with us since I've been in the national team, I always think like, wow, like in terms of like as a goalkeeper to have that type of like presence and feeling, he was a very like big like surprise to me. I thought, okay, like very good player. And I think in terms of like outfielder that I played with, that I'd say that I was playing locally, that I was like really impressed with, would have been probably, there's a lot of players. I'd say, who should I say? Who should I say? No,
Come on.
he doesn't play locally, but he plays in Africa. I know that.
Yeah.
But I say Prince Dube.
Okay.
So when I first came in, I thought like, because we sort of came in at the same time. I remember him playing. He actually scored against Algeria in the second game.
Yeah.
And he was the equaliser for us. And I thought, wow, this guy he's so good. Like, why is he not playing in Europe? And obviously now I know he plays for
he's in Tanzania.
In Tanzania, yeah, doing really well there, like the main player there. But he was someone that I thought when I first came, I thought, yeah, you are like you could easily play where I'm playing, like 100%, without even look like you should be here. You know, he reminded me of like, it's a crazy comparison, but just like like Nicolas Anelka when he was playing at like that type of striker with like finesse and speed, like he's so fast. So yeah, Prince. So yeah.
And also, Jordan, I've seen some players, they are born to Zimbabwean parents, right? Seeing you coming to represent Zimbabwe, do they even come or call you and say, Jordan, I want to represent Zimbabwe rather than representing UK? Because some of the guys, they change nationality later on the stage of their careers. You have those boys, especially the young ones, spoke to you about how good it is representing the nation.
Yeah, I think like before, a few players I spoke to Tawanda Maswanisha before he had finally came over to join us and play, and then Tawanda Chera as well. I think there are younger players. There's a few younger players coming through now in like the big academies, and all I would say to them is that there's no rush. I don't want it to be a thing where like, oh, like why are they not playing? Why are they not coming? Like, listen, everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own choices, and everyone has their own timing and things like that. But I think for me as a player, all I can is just to be the image to show that like this is what happened, this is what I've done for my career, and sort of like the players following suit now, the younger people will see that, and hopefully it could inspire them to be like, okay, I want to go here. But everyone needs to make it for their own decision. It shouldn't be, like you said, about me. It's not about me that I played in 2021 and I'm still here now and it's still going well. It's about your own journey. So I think a few of the younger players that I've seen doing really well, playing at the big clubs and stuff like that, is take your time. There is no rush. Like, I think, as you may say, as a nation, like, we're waiting for you. You're still one of us. So that's what I felt like when I first came into the national team. It was like, thank you, you're here. It wasn't a thing like, why haven't you come sooner? Why aren't you not here now? It was like, you're here now, put your arm around you, welcome. So it's the same for the players that are playing for, like, say, England or Wales or I think Holland or something else. There's a lot of players, a few Zimbabwean players. Like, we're here, and you make your decision, you take your time. When you're ready, we're still here, and hopefully I'll still be there. So, but don't take too long. We're waiting 2030 World Cup, guys. So just think about that.
Have you ever thought of playing for Three Lions yourself?
I think, do you know what is the biggest thing was for me? It was more or less that when I was younger, I didn't get called up to like the under 15s or 16s camp. And I remember I was like maybe on standby once when I was young, and then it never ended up happening. And then it was always like, so I never had that feeling of like, oh, I want to play for England, like I need to play for England. It was more like, if it had came when I was younger, then who knows, it might have been an interesting thing to have experienced. But from when I was 20 and I said to myself, I'm going here, there was no looking back. I could just see it's my mum, really, to be fair. The joy on her face was like a big thing. And then the pride in my dad's, like, speaking to his friends and his people, that was like a big thing for me.
Jordan, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a part 2 someday, because we really wanted to dig in and talk about a lot of things. Yeah, but thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure to be here. So I hope you can run it back again.
Yeah, and for the Couch Squad, thank you so much to Tadi, Vero, and David. Let's do this again next week. My name is Howard Msonza. Enjoy the rest of your viewing right here on ZTN Prime.